let's do this Captain America review. All right, so just as a quick little intro, Sam Wilson is now Captain America. We have a celestial that is jutting out of the Indian Sea, and because of this, Sam has to basically quell the waters between all these nations and countries that are fighting for this resource. Oh, and by the way, there's a Red Hulk that we have to deal with. Okay, so y'all know how I get down. First and foremost, we have to talk about the good in this movie. Now, I might throw some of y'all for a loop because I know a lot of y'all think, for whatever weird reason, I hate Anthony Mackie. But guess what? He actually did a very good job in this movie. Yes, as much as I have criticized him for not having a strong ability to lead movies, never said he was a bad actor, just said he didn't have a lead actor type of quality. That wasn't the case here. That was not the case because I thought he did an exceptional job leading in this movie. Now, I'm being very specific with my words here, by the way. Okay. Being very specific. I'm not saying he's Oscar award winning or nothing like that. I'm saying in this movie, he did a good job with his role. In other words, he does not hurt the movie. And I actually like that there were moments where he had a commanding presence on screen. Like, for example, when he was walking down that bunker and he was about to have his confrontation with the president, I thought he did a good job. So he did a good job in that regard. Anthony Mackie definitely was solid there. But I actually think it was a lot of the supporting cast that were here that did a wonderful job as well. You have people like Danny Ramirez, who plays Falcon, and you also have Carl Lumley, who plays Isaiah Bradley, aka the very first Captain America. I really like Danny in this one. I thought he was funny. I thought he was charming. I actually like him as the Falcon in this. So I was really, really happy with what he gave in this movie. Also, Isaiah Bradley, I thought he did a very good job. I'm sorry, Carl Lumley as Isaiah, thought he was really good. Man, there was that one scene where you could see him kind of getting choked up about, let's just say, his situation that he was about to face. That kind of got me. It's something about seeing an old black man getting choked up by trauma that makes me also feel really sad at the same time. But that was just really good acting at that point. And then, of course, we have Harrison Ford, who, of course, come on now, this is a seasoned actor, did his thing. Probably one of my favorites in this, especially as the Red Hulk. Red Hulk was probably one of the best highlights of this movie, and it was pretty obvious since they showed him all throughout the trailers and everything. But the number one thing that Red Hulk showed me was that, so Marvel, y'all can make a decent Hulk again. Okay. Because as I've been saying for a long time, y'all have failed the Hulk for years, ever since the first Avengers movie. So seeing this Red Hulk and him in action definitely gave me more confidence, more faith that yes, Marvel could potentially actually give us a solid Hulk movie down the line. I also like Giancarlo Esposito. I liked his role here. I thought, well, not his role. I liked his performance in this role. He was definitely giving my man Sam some problems. I like that. That was very good. And I also really enjoyed the fight scenes. The fight scenes in this movie, I thought, were shot very well. My favorite ones were probably, of course, the big battle at the end, and then the battle that took place overseas. That really reminded me more so of Top Gun Maverick. So I enjoyed that. I thought they shot it very well. And I thought the cinematography, the camera angles that they were doing while they were in flight and stuff, I thought that was handled very well also. So those were all cool. That made it entertaining. And probably last but not least, the plot itself, I thought was pretty easy and straightforward to follow. A lot of times when you get into movies that are very political, you could get a whole lot of political jargon. You can get a whole lot of, high level concepts of, yeah, there was this spy, but they were really a double, triple spy from this other country that, worked for this agency and this, that. Nah, you understood it. It was clear. It was concise. It was to the point. So I thought for those reasons, those things were all really good. Now we got to get to the bad. Okay. So first off with the bad, I know I started with my man Mackie, but I got to go right back to Sam. My problem with Sam is that on one hand, we're supposed to be fed this idea that he's just an ordinary guy. But then, remarkably, you sitting here looking like a super soldier. I mean, you jumping around, you doing 450-degree flips, you tossing the shield with perfect accuracy. And yes, I already know he trained. You know, we saw all of that in the Disney Plus show. But bro, come on now. It's only so many times that a regular dude like you can go through what you go through in this movie. Every time I was watching this, I was like, Sam should be either dead or in a wheelchair. I don't care if you got them lemon pepper, vibranium wings from Wakanda. I think they gave him a vibranium suit. Don't quote me on that. And if they did, that's a whole nother issue I don't like. But even with all of that said, how are you able to get up walking half of the time? I mean, my man was out here, I'm not going to spoil it, but he's been getting, injured, a lot badly. And he's just walking off. Just, I'm fine. Yes, I had that really crazy wound, but I'm fine, So, I mean, listen, the writing does try to soothe it over. It tries to throw a couple things in here by saying, hey, I trained, or hey, I did this. But all I'm saying is this film could have done a much better job at trying to show the real gap, the difference between a regular guy who's in shape, who's trained, versus an actual super soldier. Because a super soldier, they can think faster, they can react faster, they're obviously stronger, they're more durable. I didn't see a wide difference between Sam Wilson and any other super soldier so far, outside of maybe he gets a little cut on his face or something, but whatever. The other thing I did not like in the movie, the real villain, I thought that he was also underwhelming. I thought that they like, if you're supposed to be a mastermind, if you're supposed to be so smart, how is a regular guy challenging you? That to me, bad writing. That's just as bad as Kang being defeated by super ants. Like, what are we doing? I think that there was also some of the fight scenes really felt recycled in this as well. You have this specific hallway scene, which looked just like the Black Widow scene from Iron Man 2. You have another certain car scene, which probably will make you think immediately to Captain America 2 Winter Soldier. So I thought that was a missed opportunity to go ahead and to just give us something a little bit more original or just step it up a notch. But that to me did not really work out too well. And then I know I said that the plot was easy to follow, but yeah, the plot to me, while it was easy to follow, it felt like it lacked any real substance or political bite to it. Now, on top of that, and that's another, we'll get into that later. On top of that, the marketing for this film, I think, showed way too much. I mean, we all knew that Red Hulk was coming. Okay, there was no way you could escape that. It was in the posters, it was in the trailers, it was everywhere. Okay, and my thing was like, listen, either the trailer showed too much, or the movie didn't have enough to give you something else besides what was in the trailer. So when you look at the movie's pacing, which the pacing was also an issue, the movie was stringing that obvious secret that Thunderbolt Ross was Red Hulk. They kept stringing that along all the way through as if you didn't know going into the movie that he was going to turn into the Hulk the whole time. So unless you came in completely ice cold and you just been living in some island somewhere and you just didn't know what was going on, to me, it felt very underwhelming to try and build up this surprise that's not really a surprise. And of course, yes, the fight scene at the end was cool. That was fine. But the journey to get there to me felt lackluster, given what we already knew from the series and from the trailers and posters and so on. Oh, and by the way, I wasn't a big fan of how the fight ended. I liked the fight. The fight at the end, I liked it. I wasn't a big fan of how it ended. And I'll go into that a little later. Anyway, let's kind of talk about the reason. So, when it comes to Captain America Brave New World, I thought that it was a very politically safe, average film that doesn't really move the MCU needle to me. It felt like another victim of the pandemic, kind of like the Black Widow movie. So the same way the Black Widow movie probably should have had a better reception if it had came out right before or right after Cap 3 Civil War, this movie felt like it would have done a whole lot better if it came out right after Falcon and Winter Soldier or right after Eternals, so that we could have addressed the whole celestial thing. One way you could tell that this whole thing was dated and late was if you look at the whack, bad, single post-credit scene. What gets revealed at the end of that post-credit scene, and I would not recommend that you stay all the way at the end for that. Don't waste your 2-3 minutes. That was a nothing burger. Okay, because how you gonna sit here and tell the Marvel audiences or just general audiences as a whole about something that we've already known for the past 5 years? Like, what? So anyway, when it comes to the rating for Captain America Brave New World, I've got to give it a 6.5 out of 10. Now, I actually initially started off by giving it a 7 out of 10 because I still like it. I still think it was entertaining to watch. I do not think it's a bad movie, but I did take 0.5 off only because and I'm only speaking for myself, have no desire to rewatch this movie. There's nothing in this movie that makes me want to say, let me sit down and rewatch it again. I can watch the highlights of the fights. I can watch those clips, but to sit down and watch this movie, it doesn't have enough in there for rewatchability. So that's why I'm going from a 7 to a 6.5 out of 10. And again, it's fine. It's not bad. I do think it is worth watching, but at the same time, it's middle of the road for me. Now, I do want to take a moment to talk about something. I think we need to address the big black elephant in the room. So I said that this movie was politically safe, right? And I don't even know if that's really like the best way to say it, because this movie practically moonwalked around anything socially, racially, or politically controversial. That in itself is a failure for a Captain America movie, in my opinion. Now, if you look at the Captain America stories, whether it's the comics, TV show, whatever, Captain America stories should always take on politics without any fear of backlash. Why? Because Captain America himself represents the ideals that America wants to be when it finally grows up. Cap was punching Hitler in the 1940s. Why? Because we had to fight against fascism. In Captain America Winter Soldier or even Civil War, what was Cap fighting against? He was fighting against government overreach, right? In Cap 4, y'all fighting over a misunderstanding over a medal? What's controversial about that? What is uplifting about that? What is something about that that you can walk away and be like, all right, I see what Cap is trying to uplift us to? Like, there was nothing there. So never mind the fact that in the comics, Sam's story has always been about that racial component of a black man becoming the face of America, so to speak, and having to deal with the backlash with that. Matter of fact, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So let's forget the comics. The Disney Plus show even touched on that racial component. I don't think they went deep enough, but they glided on it. Cap is supposed to take on those edgy social, political topics and help unite people to a higher moral standard. Why a higher moral standard? Because the basic requirement to be Captain America is not to have the super soldier serum, but it's to be a good man. So I would say this: shame on Marvel for being too scared to tackle that subject of race or anything else politically edgy when it came to Captain America. And then you're going to have the nerve to drop this movie during Black History Month? I mean, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but at no point in this movie did I ever even hear the word black come up or any other racial term. They just conveniently glossed over that, and then they force fed this idea that, oh, by the way, Sam is Cap, y'all. Yep, Sam Wilson is Captain America, and everybody is okay with it. He's not that guy that we saw that was struggling to get a loan in the bank anymore. Now he's got a fancy head HQ, and he even gets free beers. Racism is over, guys. Very disingenuous. I don't like it. It does not feel authentic, and it does not feel earned. And it does feel like y'all were just scared because of the current political climate. But if that was the case, Marvel, you shouldn't have made this movie. And it's one of the reasons why, even though I do believe Anthony Mackie did a good job in this movie, I don't believe this movie did a good job for Anthony Mackie. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Cap 4. Is it worth watching? Yes, go check it out. I'm sure many of you have already checked it out. And feel free to come on back to this video and let me know, what did you think about it in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. This was just a segment of one of my live chats, and if you're interested in joining in on the next one, be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications for more. I've got more videos and reviews to do for you all, and until next time, I'll see you all later.